On today's episode of VR Gun Facts is likely the most well-known bolt-action rifle, the three-line rifle M1891, or more commonly known as the Mosin-Nagant. The Mosin-Nagant is a Russian bolt-action rifle, chambered in 7.62 by 54mm R. Its 5-round internal magazine is fed either via single rounds or stripper clips. It weighs 4 kilograms, with an effective range via iron sights of 500 meters. It was developed in 1891 for use by the Russian Empire, with over 37 million units in total being made, making it easily one of the most common rifles in the world, and has seen use in almost every nation in one way or another. In fact, the weapon is older than some of the countries that still use it to this day. The Mosin's development was one of necessity. During the Russo-Turkish War of 1877, Russian troops found their single-shot Berdan rifles completely outclassed by the Turkish, armed with Winchester 1866 repeating rifles. In 1889, trials were held for a new military rifle. 2 finalists stood out. One made by Sergei Ivanovich Mosin, and the other by Emil Leon Nagant. Mosin's rifle won due to its simpler mechanisms and easier disassembly than Nagant's. It was adopted formally as the three-line rifle M1891 in 1891. But if Nagant had no part in designing Mosin's rifle, why is it called the Mosin-Nagant? It's a long story. Despite losing, Nagant filed a patent suit, claiming that he was entitled to the sum Mosin was to receive. Citation is still needed for this, as stories vary from site to site. But Nagant was the first to apply the patent for the interrupter, even though he had borrowed the design from Mosin. Now Mosin couldn't apply for the patent himself, as he was an officer for the Russian army at the time, thus meaning that the design was owned by the government. Nagant threatened to never participate in trials ever again if he was not paid. The Russian government saw that Nagant was one of the few producers not being used by competing governments, as well as being eager to participate in creating new technology. As such, he was paid 200,000 rubles, equal to what Mosin was. Nagant used the situation for further publicity, which led to the widespread name of the Mosin-Nagant. There are practically infinite variations of the Mosin, many made by different countries, so I'll just go through the ones available in this game. The M1891-30 is the most well-known of the Mosin variants, and was the standard issue for Soviet soldiers from 1930 to 1945. It's 64mm shorter and 0.4 kilograms lighter than the standard rifle. The sniper variant of this rifle includes a 3.5x scope, as well as a bent bolt in order to allow for easier cycling, since the scope was placed directly above the chamber. Because the scope is directly above the chamber, this also means that the weapon cannot be loaded via stripper clips, only by single rounds. The model 1938, more commonly known as the M38, is a carbine based on the 1891-30 design. They were not frontline combat rifles, and were fully intended for second echelon or non-combatant troops. That should be all of them in this game, though I can't help but feel like I'm missing one. The Mosin-Nagant's legacy is clear in just how many pieces of media you can find it in. In just about any game or movie where older rifles fit in, the Mosin is almost certainly among them. It also exists even in more futuristic settings. I highly doubt there's any way to show just how widespread this weapon truly is. Oh man, that was a shot!